Today is Saturday, July 31st, 2021, which means it's Derelict Saturday or something like that. Hello, fiendlings, how the hell are you? Summer weather is finally clamping down on us, and every day we're not supposed to get rain, we get thunderstorms. They appear in the morning as nothing more than a strange color in the sky. The clouds look strange and disfigured for hours, crossing the sun in their odd shapes, until finally gathering to strangle the light. A breeze whispers through the air and catches the spring leaves, rattling them like castanets. The heavy, moisture-laden air sticks to your skin like honey before the first fat raindrop falls, its millions of brethren following close behind. Although both the Luna and Shadow Fiends are less than impressed by all the boom booms, I enjoy these visitations. The suspense, the way the world seems to be holding its breath, the birds going quiet, and only the crickets and cicadas making their chatter. But after the first few drops fall, the only sound left is rain hitting wood, metal, ground, and leaf. A rather dramatic intro to the episode, but that's what happens when I'm dealing with writer's block. Alas, it's time to get to your beloved content. Be safe, have a great week, and we'll talk again real soon. Here's episode 34 of Derelict, Trident. Chapter 55. The sensor logs made no sense. Noble continued flipping through the records, trying to spot trends, but it was hopeless. The medbay module's power and logs were stable until the wave hit, but once the sensors resumed recording, the readings had changed dramatically. He assumed that the wave had overloaded the sensors, and there would be nothing after that. Instead, the wave was recorded as a spike that was 7 times the magnitude of the last radiation reading. Then a new radiation reading took the place of the medbay's traditional power coupling to Trident Station. The radiation went to near nothing, not even background radiation from space. It was as if the medical bay modules had suddenly been cut off from the rest of the universe and encapsulated in an impenetrable bubble. Any reactor was going to put off some rads, and the medical modules obviously had their own energy sources. Apart from the reactor being completely shielded and residing inside the medical bay itself, and using some form of energy he didn't know about, it just didn't make sense. New tech, Noble breathed. The trio had sent them armed with experimental weapons, so didn't it make sense the quantum bastards could have upgraded portions of Trident Station? He didn't buy it. The trio had put Black Company and, by extension, the entire human race at risk by sending them to Mira in the first place. Why would they bother buttressing Trident Station? They certainly didn't have a problem killing humans, if Captain Kovach's logs were anything to go by. Judging by what he'd already seen since they arrived at what he still thought of as home, the number of casualties had to be in the hundreds already. The old trio had done nothing to warn them of what was coming. That much was obvious. One S&R company and ship completely destroyed for nothing, not to mention all the middies and squiddies and marines that perished when the wave hit and knocked out power to the station. No, the trio obviously didn't give a shit what happened to the humans. Still, the instruments didn't lie, or at least as far as he could tell. The medical bays were somehow tethered together by power sources that didn't register as radioactive. Not to mention the fact that the routing schematics were obviously out of date for the entire medical area. They showed Medical Bay 2's emergency reactor as sitting just below the floor, and based on the energy flow, again, that was impossible. The display showed no power going through that area at all. "The fuck is this?" he asked no one. "Noble," Dunn said over the comms. Noble jumped in his chair before clearing his throat and responding in a shaking voice. "Aye, sir?" "I'm sending a block authorization to you. Escort it to the console." Frowning, Noble followed the instructions Dunn had given him. The holo displays flashed twice before going dark. "For void's sake, can't any—" The holo displays flashed again and came to life with new options and new displays. Noble blinked twice. "Sir, what is this?" "Learn it fast, because we're going to have to get the medbays out of here very soon." The menu labels stared back at him in verdant green. Propulsion, avionics, stasis, weapons? But he licked his lips as he stared at the unfamiliar menus, the labels' meanings still bouncing around in his skull. Modules have no engines, no thrusters, no... He blew out a long, shuddering sigh. This is a ship. He could hear Dunn's grin over the comms.
Yes, and we need to get everyone into Medbay 3 except you. You're staying right where you are.
He blinked again. Sir?
I'll be up in a minute to explain. Out.
The connection ended, and Noble was left staring at the menus. The power meters showed the medical bay craft, or whatever you wanted to call this damned hacked-together thing, at less than 2% of total power. It was powering all the grav plates, all the life support, and providing them with enough energy to power all the medical and sensory equipment on board, and it was only using 2% of total power. He tapped the menu, and a new list appeared. Add controls to display. Gravitic generator status, nominal. Maneuvering thrusters, ready. Gravitic engines, ready. Inertial dampeners online. Noble sent a block command to the console, querying its database. The holodisplay flashed twice, and a yellow warning message appeared. Block communication disabled. Manual mode only. What? He pinged the holodisplay again, and this time there was no return ping. It was no longer responding to block commands at all. In a last-ditch effort, he relayed the captain's block code he'd received earlier. Still nothing. The holodisplay blinked at him as if waiting for him to do something. Glaring at it, he waved his hands and new icons floated before him. A control system appeared that included throttle controls as well as maneuvering thrusters and proximity sensors. He swiped up the navigation display and a large 3D map of the solar system spread out before him. In the lower left-hand corner, simple blue text proclaimed, Destinations. Noble frowned before moving his fingers over the planet Jupiter. The holodisplay focused in on the planet and displayed the settlements and stations orbiting the gas giant. He could focus in on each one separately, see a class of mooring stations, current status, and estimated time for arrival. That last was... You went to all this trouble and you couldn't make an accurate calculator? The ETAs from Neptune were ridiculously low. According to the distances and the estimated flight time, the ship, or whatever you wanted to call this thing, could travel at least 10 times faster than S&R Black's maximum speed. Paced. We'd be paced. No one could survive that, not even in stasis. He half expected a pleasant, non-threatening AI to answer him or make a smart-ass comment. When it didn't happen, he didn't know whether to feel relieved or wary. He decided wary was safest. No onboard artificial intelligence system meant the pilot and navigator would have complete control of the ship. There'd be no entity or intelligent machine designed to deal with issues or keep the chimps running it from blowing it the fuck up. Noble hadn't piloted anything since officer training school, where knowledge of systems was compulsory for everyone. If you had the rank, you knew how to fly. Maybe not well, and you may not have more than a few courses, but you knew how to make it happen. I'm going to suck at this, Noble said. Hopefully, the captain, Talby, or Oakes would end up flying this thing. He wasn't sure he was cut out for it. Choose destination flashed every 2 seconds in the right-hand corner, as if the craft expected him to provide it an answer. He harumphed. Where in the solar system is safe? A new alert appeared on the holodisplay. External comms detected. Source, S&R Blue. He mumbled before tapping the icon. A low tone sounded, followed by what he thought was the most beautiful thing he'd ever heard. He heard the sound of someone who wasn't trapped in this strange ship attached to a dead station.
This is Captain LeBlanc. Do you read me? Come in, Black Company.
S&R Blue, this is Lieutenant Noble of Black Company.
Excellent, Lieutenant. Is Captain Dunn nearby?
Noble forwarded the channel to Dunn. Captain, Blue on the line for you.
Copy.
The communications went silent for a moment. A new transmission icon appeared. External comms detected. Source, SV Null, Lieutenant Talby, Blue Company. Noble's mouth twitched into a grin. Talby?
Hello, Noble. We're still alive.
Talby's voice was so clear the man might as well have been standing in the room. Where are you, and why are you flying one of Blue's birds? Noble asked, practically swiveling in his chair. And what the void is an SV Null?
My ride was a little beat up, so they gave me a new one. Long story,
Talby said.
I'm getting life readings on everyone but Dickerson and Calimora. What happened?
MIA, Noble said with a sigh. We got attacked, and I guess they were trapped when that thing smashed through the hull. Talby was silent for a moment, and Noble could practically hear the questions running through the pilot's mind.
Copy. Any other casualties?
No, Noble said.
Gunny?
Noble felt a twinge of pain. I don't know. I haven't heard.
Copy. Keep the fires warm. Shit's going to start happening real soon.
I don't like the sound of that, Noble said. Talby loosed a grim chuckle.
I don't either, but I can guarantee our out-of-town friends are going to like it even less.
Chapter 56. Dickerson opened his eyes and saw nothing but darkness. He sent a block command to his HUD, and it came to life with a crackle of light, and then showed him more darkness. What the...
Dickerson?
Kelly Moore's voice said over the comms.
You alive in there?
He groaned, sounding as though he'd been gargling gravel. I think so. Kelly Moore sighed.
Finally, some good news.
Dickerson clenched his fists and frowned. He couldn't close his hands completely, and his fingers felt like cricket bats. What's wrong with my hands?
Nothing so far as I know,
Kelly Moore said.
but you're wearing 2 suits.
He said nothing for a moment, his brain attempting to process that. 2 suits?
Found a couple of spares. They'll give us a bit longer to live.
Right, Dickerson said, suddenly remembering they were in the QM bay surrounded by monsters and in the midst of lethal radiation. He pulled at the top of the suit and uncovered his helmet. Kelly Moore sat in front of him, her suit lights as low as they could get, and pointed at the space between them. The double suit made her look as though she'd gained 20 kilos and not in a flattering way. Don't think that fits you so well, he said with a grin.
Shut up,
She said.
You look even more ridiculous. You're so damn big the second suit can't even wrap around you properly.
Oh, he said. Guess that's why my fingers feel like they're moving through tar. She nodded.
Right. How badly are you hurt?
Was he hurt? What had been happening when... My leg. Before I blacked out, something...
I took care of it.
She said.
You lost pressure, but the suit resealed. Fortunately, the radiation kept your skin warm enough to keep you from freezing, but you've definitely got some damage.
Damage. Right. His nannies, even if he had any live ones left, were probably focusing all their attention on his left calf, the place where the creature had managed to perforate his suit. The fact he couldn't feel the wound was a little concerning. Either the nannies had applied a nerve block, or his leg was fucked, and in a matter of hours, he wouldn't even be able to use it. Where the void are we? Her voice held a grin.
Found this a maintenance locker. No ventilation ducts, only a single ingress point, which is shielded by atmosteel, and it was a locked, void-damned hatch.
Dickerson chuckled. How did you...
The one that got you? After I destroyed it, I had to go after you because you bounced all over the place. You practically rammed into the hatch.
Figures. He checked his radiation sensors. Even behind the layer of atmosteel, the levels were lethal without a suit. How many minutes of life you think we have left with double suits? She shrugged. With the extra suit layer around her, the gesture was comical. Didn't know a blob could shrug.
Shut up,
Kelly Morris said.
Okay, I need you focused. Are you focused?
Dickerson drawled. About as focused as I'm going to get. Of course, I haven't tried to stand up yet.
Well, let's start with that.
She rose from the deck and offered him her hand. He reached out and took it, allowing her to do most of the work of pulling him up. In an augmented suit, it wasn't difficult. When he finally stood, he unlocked his left mag boot and tried to move his foot in a semicircle. A lance of pain shot through his brain and then dulled to an itchy ache. Shit fire and save matches, Dickerson hissed.
What's a match?
Dickerson blinked and then grinned. You know, I have no idea. She shook her head.
Look, we have to find a way out of here. The QM bay I went into? Big monsters, really big ones. That's where all the rads are coming from.
Makes sense, Dickerson said dully. But where do we go?
Out.
The word was clipped, pointed, and self-explanatory. Out of the station? She nodded.
We'll have to go through one of the emergency airlocks.
He brought up the Trident Station schematics. It took him a moment, but he found their position and squirted the map to Callimore's block. We here?
I think so. About the only place we could be, I guess.
He pointed at the hatch. That's the only way out.
Right.
And how many baddies are on the other side of it? Calimora was silent for a moment.
I don't know.
Figured. Dickerson checked his ammo. I'm down to damn near nothing.
Me too, but if we don't try and get out of here, we're going to die here. The radiation's only increasing out there. Whatever's going to happen is probably going to happen soon.
He didn't like the sound of that. Like red,
Like Red.
she agreed.
I don't know about you, but I don't want to be around here when one of those things gives birth or transforms or whatever the void it is they do.
Copy that, Dickerson said. So we open the hatch and see what's what? Got a nanoprobe left?
One, and it's not going to survive long. Not with the sievert levels out there.
Sieverts. Right. He pulled his flechette rifle from his back, checked for damage, ammunition, and held it fast in his arms. I'll crack the hatch, you pilot the probe.
What are you going to do if something's out there?
Close the hatch, he said, and figure something else out.
Right.
Kellymora paused for a beat.
Dickerson?
What?
Nothing. Ready?
Confused, he said, sure, and stepped to the hatch. Let me know when you're ready.